Ken Orange Theory Trader back with you with another video talking about a risk management plan that is going to increase 10, 20, 30x your profits depending on how you want to employ this risk management. So let's not waste time and get right into it. Normally I say with some of these things, this isn't necessary to know, but risk management is 100% necessary to know. Stop hoping when you trade and start planning. Okay. Some people can plan a trade, but when it comes to managing risk, they don't know what they're doing. So these are the questions that you have to answer when you're devising a risk management plan. And it doesn't have to be complicated. Number one, how much am I willing to lose per trade that I take? Number two, how much do I want to make? Okay. Number three, how much money am I starting with? Okay. If you're starting with $5, come on now. Okay. So what's the plan when I lose? And plus, what's the plan when I win? And do I have the means to restart or refresh my account? Oftentimes when people use prop firms, when they take a challenge and fail, do they have the money to buy another challenge? Or if they trade their own money and their balance is low enough, do they have the means to make another deposit? So I always recommend, like my father taught me, don't invest anything that you can't afford to lose. And I'd also say don't trade any money that you cannot afford to use, but if you lose. But if you do have the means to refresh your account, then by all means, let's get it going. So there are some various approaches to risk management. We're only going to focus on one on this video. But what I'm going to do is present to you several models over the course of the next few days and weeks. There's a conservative approach, which is the most popular, where you just risk a fixed amount per trade, be it 1 to 2%. Asymmetric compounding, where the goal is to win 2 trades in a row and risk all your profits from a winning trade to make a bigger gain. You have pyramiding, which is just simply adding to winning positions as you're in a trade. So when the trade goes in your favor, you add a little more size. You have the martingale, which is doubling your risk after you lose a trade. And you also have dynamic risk management, which means you just use your own discretion to risk various amounts depending on the trade that you're looking at. So there's no set standard, but you just employ whatever you want to do for that plan and hope for the best, really, because it's dynamic. It's always changing. Now, you're free to mix and match these depending on the situation you find yourself in. But for this video, for this plan, we're going to focus on asymmetric compounding, which is pretty low to moderate risk. Now, there's various methods to do this, but one of the main ones is a lot of people talk about risking 1%. And let's make our risk to reward 3, just for this example. So if you're risking 1%, you're trying to make 3% on your account. And the goal is that when you risk the 3% and win, then you're going to risk 1%, which you want to risk anyway, plus the 3% that you already made. And we know that 3 plus 1 equals 4, but we're still keeping the same risk to reward ratio. So you're risking 4% to possibly make, if it's a 1 to 2, 8%, or if it's 1 to 3, 12%. So you're risking 4% to, at the most, make 12% on your money, which is really good. So for the example there, you see there, you have $100 and you risk $1 to make 3. You win that trade. After you make that trade, you risk that $3 you just made plus another buck for $4 total. Okay, and then you're risking $4 to make either 8 to 12 bucks. All right, so that's as simple as I can make it. So here's the goal though. When you win 2 trades in a row, then you go back to your original risk. You don't keep risking all your profits for bigger and bigger gains. Okay, so you go back and forth. And this to me is much more sustainable than continuously dumping your profits back into the trade itself. So you seesaw. When you win a trade, you risk those profits, then you go back down. When you win 2 in a row, you go up, then you go down. So you'll see this play out in just a few seconds here. So let's talk about devising the plan. Let's answer the questions that we talked about at the beginning of this video. So number one, how much in the account am I willing to lose? For this example, let's say we're willing to lose 3%. How much do I want to make? Let's say we'll do 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio. Now, how much money am I starting with? For this example, let's say you're starting with $200. The approach is going to be asymmetric compounding, which is we win 2 in a row, okay, for that ultimate gain, and then we go back to 3. So our risk is going to be anywhere from 3% and possibly up to even 9% of the account, depending on if we can win a trade or not. The approximate win rate, let's say between 40 and 50%. So this is how it would look. And when we run the scenarios, do 2, and I'll show you how to do this. One where you're starting out, and then another one where you'd like to end up. For this example, we'll do a starting amount with $200, and then the next one we'll do one with $10,000. And let's say we wanted to make our goal to try to have a sustainable living off of a $10,000 account. So these numbers are based on a 50% win rate and a 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio. So here they are. You can pause the screen if you want, take a little look at it. I'm not going to read every single line of this. I'm going to focus on a couple of losses and a couple wins. So as you can see here, if we start out with $200, 3% of 200 is $6. Is that a lot? No, it's not. Okay. But the goal is you need to have it in your mind that your losses should be insignificant. $6 out of 200 is not a lot of money. This case is just not. That's why I believe in this case, 3% is no big deal. Because of the asymmetric compounding aspect of it, though, it's fairly easy to win back too. So you can lose the first two trades. You're down, was that 12, a little under $12. But look at what happens on the win. On the win, you make 3%. So you risk 565 to make 1694. I'll just round the numbers. Let's say you risk 6 and you end up with 17. But now remember the asymmetric compounding aspect of it. Now you're going to risk the 17 that we just made on line 3 right here plus 3%, okay, of this balance right here. So which is a total of 2309. So remember, now we're still keeping the same risk to reward ratio of 1 to 3. So you're risking 23 to try to make 70, right? So you can see there the potential of exponential growth where you've grown the account now from at a low point of 188 up to 274, right? Now, this is still with a 50% win rate because now you're going to have a loss here and then a couple more wins. And at the zenith here of the account, you're going to have about 410 if you get a couple more wins. And the ending balance is going to end up at 548 from $200. Okay, and that's really good. And this is just winning half the trades. I know a lot of you guys are caught up on win rate, and that's the question I probably get the most. What's the win rate? Who cares? Okay, if you can't manage risk, it doesn't matter what your win rate is. I'm going to be honest with you. Okay, focus on how much do I lose when I lose a trade, and how much do I win when I win a trade. Okay, so in this example, hey, I'm only losing 6, but when I win, I'm making 69, I'm making 97, I'm making 138. Okay, that's the goal, not a win rate. All right. Now here's the next scenario of $10,000. But here's the main thing. Hear me and hear me good. The more money you have, the less risk you need to take. So we lower the risk here to 2%. This could just as easily be 1%. But now we're only risking 2% of the account. And we're going to use leave everything else the same. 1 to 3 risk to reward. And as well, we also have the same asymmetric compounding aspect of it. So obviously here we start out with a couple losses, 2%, 2%. Out of that, that's $200. But 200 out of 10,000, come on now, is that a lot? No, not in the grand scheme of things. Okay, you still have plenty of principal left over to play with. All right. So after the first win, you're going to get a 192 risk and a $576 reward. Okay, but now we take that 576 and still risk 2% of this balance, which is the 10,180. 2 wins back to back give us a grand total now of $12,519. Okay, so that's $2,000 that you've made after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, after 5, well actually 4. After 4, 2 losses and 2 wins, 50% win rate, you've made a little over about $2,500. Okay, on a $10,000 account. All right. So again, win rate doesn't matter. If you can do half, I promise you're fine. 40 to 50% is really the sweet spot with good risk management. You do not have to have a 90% win rate to make money. You really don't. Okay, now I've just proven that to you. Half the trades, you ran $2,000. Okay. All right, so now let's keep going. We're going to keep the risk the same. A couple more losses here and wins, etc., etc. So you got a loss, a win, but nothing changes. The deal is, though, is that we keep the risk the same and we just compound the profits. So here, the biggest reward amount that we have is about $2,000. And then we have another one here for about $7,000. And if we don't pull anything out when all is said and done here, we end up with about $11,519 after these trades. Now, what about a 40% win rate with these same account balances? Same everything else. On a $200 account and a 40% win rate, you'll see here if you win this one, you got about a $69 reward. Again, your max risk is still at a base level is going to be the $6 or the profit, whatever your 3% is of the account. Okay, so you got a $69 reward here. You got a $95 reward right here. Again, you can pause to take a look at how this is structured. But all we're doing is risking 3% of the balance plus whatever profit we've made. That's asymmetric compounding. And you would go from about $200 to about $354 after 10 trades. All of these tables will be 10 trades. And that's still a decent return with a 40% win rate. All right, so again, this could just as easily be 30% win rate. I'm not going to go that low. But you'd still be profitable if you know what you're doing. That's the main thing. You have to have a plan. Then on a $10,000 account, same parameters with everything else. This is a 40% win rate. I'm not, get pause if you really want to look at this. So you can just see, you got a reward here of about 500 bucks, and then 2 grand right here, almost 3 grand right here. Oops, sorry. And let me go back here. So you end up with about $15,000 after everything is said and done with this example right here. Okay. So again, this is 40% win rate, but that's how the numbers just shook out. Okay. Period. Point blank. You only won 4 trades. 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything else was a loss. Still made money. Made 5 grand. So you see the power now, I hope, of asymmetric compounding, where when and there's no guarantee. Let me say this though. This is an ideal scenario. There's no guarantee that you're going to win 2 trades in a row, but you already have a plan out. You know that when I lose, I'm only risking 2%. All I need is 2 wins in a row to get a decent payday. If you get 2 wins in a row, 1, 2, that's your payday right there. You could just as easily pull that out and pay some bills. You could just as easily pull that out and pay some bills. And with asymmetrics, all you need are 2 wins in a row. So that's your focus. 2 wins. And depending on your account balance, go ahead and make a withdrawal. 2 wins, make a withdrawal. 2 wins, make a withdrawal. Okay, pound that into your mind. Okay, 2 wins, payday. 2 wins, payday. All right. So do not neglect this. In conclusion, do not neglect this. This is your paycheck. The chart is not your paycheck. Your risk management is. Okay, make withdrawals a part of your plan. Have a goal of a principal amount that you want to get to, be it 10 grand, 20 grand, 50 grand, and live off the interest, aka your trading profits. That's what the rich do. They have just if you have $50 million and you get 5% a year, okay, you can live off of that. All right. So same principle on a smaller scale with trading. If you have a $50,000 account and you can make 10% on that, that's 5 grand. Okay. Now, here's a word to people who like using prop firms. I don't. Nothing wrong with it, just not for me. I have in the past, but that's neither here nor there. If you use an asymmetric approach with a prop firm, it could be damaging if there's a consistency rule. And real quick, what that means is that most of your profits can't come from one trade. So if you have big days like this where you make 2 grand, you're going to have to keep trading in order to bring down that consistency. If you don't trade prop firms, this doesn't pertain to you. But you need to know if your prop firm has a consistency rule, because they like to see profits spread out over multiple trades, not just one big day, and then you can pull that out. Some prop firms don't play that. So just be aware of that. You can mix and match the the risk management approaches that I just gave to find what fits your style. And I will come up with some more risk management plans to show you ways you can manage your money and manage your trading capital. Most traders use the conservative approach where they just trade 1 to 2% and they're just done with it. Okay, that's the majority. But there's no law that says you have to do that. I don't do that. I use asymmetric. That's what I do, and it's been working pretty well for me. So keep the approximate win rate at 40 to 50%. Okay, you'll have some weeks where you win 90% of your trades, but you'll have other weeks where you only win 30 of them. Okay, but risk is still the most important. Forget the win rate. How much money are you making? All right. If you want to experiment with this, please, please, please experiment on demo. Plenty of brokers have demo accounts you can open up, but don't open up a demo account with $100,000. Okay, open it up with a reasonable amount, 100 bucks, 200 bucks, 500 bucks, however much you want to start on your real account, and go from there. Okay, and forget mastering trading. If you master risk, okay, the odds are you'll never have to work again. Okay, but you have to be a good risk manager, not a good trader. Make that your obsession. Fall in love with risk management, not with trading. Okay, if there's one thing you should brag about, it should be bragging about, you know what? I only lost $6. I only lost $5. I only lost $8. Okay, this part here will take care of itself. When you're wrong, that's the part to be proud of. And when you're right, it's going to take care of itself with the right plan. Okay, but don't brag about this column. Brag about this column. Hey, when I'm wrong, it doesn't even matter. That should be your mindset. Okay, so I appreciate your time and attention and watching the video. Some more plans will be coming up, but I appreciate your time and attention. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. What? Oh my gosh.